useful. Go ahead and type that in the chat if you think that's useful. Okay, we're going to take it even deeper now. What if we could emotionally, what if we imagine people have like a little heart, like a little harp inside their heart that we could just unzip it and play whatever song we wanted. Would that be helpful? Would that be useful? Yes or yes? Okay, so the next thing I want to talk about is called the emotional bonding checklist. Okay, so let me repeat that. The emotional bonding checklist. There's two variants on this. There's one you use on yourself, and there's one you use with other people. It's basically the same process, but this is where we have to actually write things down. Okay, so do you remember at the beginning of the webinar, before we had all these different snafus and things like that, that I said, what if you could emotionally bond people to your product, yourself, or your service in such a way that they would get everything they want just by doing everything you wanted? You guys remember that? Yes or yes? Okay. It's one thing for me to tell you about it. It's another thing for me to demonstrate it. And by the way, I actually did use the emotional bonding checklist in my demonstration with Bernice. When you saw the first part of that demo, you saw me doing the echo technique, just using their words. But if you go back and you watch the demo, you'll hear me say, so Bernice, just so I understand you better, what's important to you about karate lessons for your 10-year-old son, Josh? That is one of the most important questions you can ask yourself or any other human being. Why? Because when you ask a person, including yourself, that question, it goes right to their values, their emotional needs that they want to satisfy. How many people here have some emotional needs that they would like to get satisfied? Just type it in the chat. Okay. How many people here have some emotional needs they would like to satisfy using the techniques they're learning from tonight's webinar? Anybody? Excellent. So here's my question. What is it? You don't have to type this in the chat because I know it can be personal, but I want you to start focusing in now on the exact thing you want to satisfy yourself with as a byproduct of tonight's webinar. So as a byproduct of tonight's webinar, what needs do you want to satisfy? What do you want to be able to do? What's that going to do for you? And what's important about that? So let me repeat those three questions. As a byproduct of tonight's webinar, what do you want to learn? Or what do you want to take away from it? What's it going to do for you? What's important about that? So what I would, let me do this really quick. If I can pull up my OneNote. Well, actually, since I have a OneNote, I'll just show it to you. Okay, so what do you want? So let's say I want to control my emotions, right? What's it going to do for you? Well, if I can control my emotions, then people wouldn't be able to push my buttons anymore. Next question is, what's important about that? Right? No one's going to be able to push my buttons. That means people can't make me feel bad. And if people couldn't make you feel bad, what's important to you about getting that? I'll never be afraid again. Doesn't it look like I've kind of done this before, guys? I'll never be afraid again, right? So notice what we're doing here. What do you want? What's important to you? Or what's it going to do for you? Oops, what's it going to do for you? What's important to you about that? Now, here's the secret to this. You're going to need to write these things down. I want you to physically write these things down. Why is that? because when you write them down and you express them, it stimulates your neurology. You always want to go with the exact words that come up. You're going to do this 2 or 3 times, and you're just going to drill down what's important about getting it. Ultimately, if you had this, and you had this, and you had this, ultimately, what's important to you about that, right? I would feel safe, right? So that's the example. Here's what I want you to do. We're going to do this as a drill right now. I want you to get out a piece of paper, and I want you to write out, as a byproduct of this training, what is it you want to be able to do? What's it going to do for you? And what's important to you about it? So write those 3 things down, answer those questions. I'm not going to, at this point, I'm not going to ask you what those things are. What I'm asking you to do is know and externalize that information onto a piece of paper using this format, okay? Now, when you apply this to yourself, we call this the emotional motivation checklist. When you apply this with other people, like you saw me do with Bernice, we call it the emotional bonding checklist, okay? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to write out the answers to those questions, and when you've got all 3 levels written out, I want you to type done in the chat, okay? Just go ahead and do that. Done. Okay, Aurora's with us. Okay, good, good, good. Excellent. All right, I'm just trying to get everything kind of went wonky. All right, so you've done that. Now let's do this together. I'm going to go ahead and jump out of my screen share. All right, so let me get my piece of paper. So now we've got this. We should have what's important about A, what's important about B, what's important about C. Yes, yes, or yes? Okay, here's what we're going to do next. I want you to take this piece of paper with the answers to those questions. I want you to take an inventory of your body. Notice how you feel right now, right? And as a byproduct of this training, if you had these things on your list, if I could show you how to get it, if you could see a clear path to getting it, here's what we're going to do next, okay? Hold it up and read the answers to your questions out loud 5 times. Just hold it up. I would normally hold it up at about a 45, but it messes with my camera. So maybe I'll just do it like this, right? But read the answers to this out loud 5 times, and then type done in the chat. Go ahead and do that. It's okay, I'll wait. Come on, where did my screen go? Man, today is such a wonky day. Holy cow. All right, so, oh, there we go. Done. All right, excellent. Now, what just happened in your body when you did this? What do you feel now? What do you feel now versus before you read it out loud? Aurora says much lighter. Kathy says done. Okay. Alignment. My body feels safer than it did already. You notice that just hearing your own words that are linked to your emotions energized you, made you feel better, made you feel more positive? Yes or yes? Okay. Now, let me ask you a question. What happened to your desire for these things? What happened to your desire for these things? Stronger? It grew? Excellent. Want to see a neat trick? You guys want to share something a real cool? I'll deconstruct what I did at the end of the webinar, but I want to notice on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you feel that right now? How much, where were you at the beginning, and what number are you at now in terms of your desire for those things? Ten, Cecile says. Wow. Anybody else? Come on. You guys want to learn about influence? I'm going to teach you influence. 10, 7, 9, 10. Wow, you went from like in 5 repetitions, you went from 0 to hero? Let me ask you a question, just so I understand you better. Why do you want that so bad? Why didn't you rate it less? Seriously, why didn't you rate it less? Type it in the chat. Why didn't you rate it less? Why do you want this so much? It's more important than the fear. Okay. You ready to get rid of that fear? Because I felt completely unsafe in my past? Okay. Honestly? Yeah. Okay. Honesty, yes. Excellent. Because those are excellent. Because it will make me better. Absolutely. So let me ask you a question. What would you think would be the next step to take to move that forward? Well, I'm glad you asked, because with your permission, I'd like to show you what that next step might be. Would that be okay? Yes or yes? Do it, he says. Excellent. All right. Here's how to keep everything we just talked about in the front of your mind. When we come down the back end, we're going to teach you how to protect yourself and actually take yourself off the menu for a lot of these things. And we'll actually customize the content for what we want to do. So with your permission, I'd like to teach you about the Secrets of Human Influence Ultra Persuasion Mastery Home Study course. This is a course that I've spent decades perfecting, utilizing and teaching to people all over the world. It has literally transformed the lives of tens of thousands of people, both in pieces and as a whole unit. I promised you I would take you as far down this influence and persuasion rabbit hole as I could, and I'd show you how to level up and take the next step. And here we go. The Ultra Persuasion Mastery Home Study course is all about helping you take your life to the next level. It's all about making more money, closing more deals, getting more dates, helping more people, moving through the world more confident, putting a dead stop halt to that fear, and being more honest in your life to be more powerful. It's about ethically and honestly winning the game of life in a way that when you look in the mirror, you love the person staring back at you, and the world loves you too. A byproduct of this, you're going to become more charming, charismatic, and ultimately, you're going to be one of the most irresistible people that anyone you meet has ever met. In fact, you will be the talk of the town at most social events if you apply what we're teaching you right now. So here's what we put together. Now, this is a great offer, but it expires tonight at 11:59 p.m. And it includes the Secrets of Human Influence Home Study course. This is one of our Killer Influence Home Study courses. This is a 17 video set that teaches you the 7-stage universal persuasion protocol. We're going to show you in small, easy to consume, step-by-step blueprints how to think like a master influencer. Influencers and professional influencers think very differently than the average human being. They target emotions, they target needs, they target desires, and they know how to talk in such a way that those values and those needs get massaged and stimulated. Okay, it's a $297 value. It's going to teach you how to control your own psycho-emotional state so no one else can. Okay, this is actually one of the most important and Jedi skills that separates the killer influence systems from everything else, is that we actually will teach you step by step by step exactly how to control your own emotional state, how to go into and out of any emotional state at will, on demand, in any sequence. And the byproduct of that training is that no one will ever be able to push your emotional buttons or influence you in directions you don't want to go without your permission ever again. If you want to tap into unstoppable motivation, this will allow you to do it. If you want to be the most charismatic and charming person in the room, that will do it. If you want to just be able to influence people without even opening your mouth at the higher levels, you can actually do that. It's a $297 value, but there's a lot more to it. We're going to teach you some of the most powerful rapport skills on the planet, things that work anytime, anywhere, under any circumstance, for any reason. They will literally cause you to, your heartbeats and your breathing patterns to automatically synchronize with people. And at the higher levels to this, you'll actually be able to transmit your emotions from one nervous system to another, like syncing to Bluetooths. And as a byproduct of that, people's reticular activating systems, the part of their neurology that actually decides what you pay attention to and how you perceive the world around you, will shift so that they automatically perceive any communication you give them in the most optimal way for you to get what you want. And they'll think it's their idea. I want to teach you the 7 most powerful, irresistible hypnotic language patterns on the planet. Stop for a moment and imagine this. Imagine what you could do if you had the magical ability to systematically, in addition to making people literally pay attention to you at deeper levels than they've ever paid attention to anyone before. What if you had the ability to direct that focus of attention to exactly the things you wanted them to pay attention to and ignore everything else? Okay. What if you could also, with this one pattern, cause a separation between a person's conscious mind and their unconscious mind, so that their unconscious mind would just start running whatever program you wanted it to run? What could you do with a superpower like that? What if these effects would happen even if the person you were using them with knew what you were doing and was actively trying to resist it? What could you do with something like that? What would happen if you didn't know how to detect something like that? Right? Both sides to this, right? One of the secrets to being able to protect yourself from unwanted manipulation and influence is the ability to detect unwanted manipulation and influence. The only way to really detect unwanted manipulation and influence is to be good at influence yourself, to understand these techniques from a user's perspective. And when I say user, I mean from someone who's an operator, someone who knows how to use these things. Okay. Remember, you came onto this webinar to learn how to protect yourself. One of the first things you have to understand as a self-defense instructor, if I'm going to teach you how to fight or defend yourself against a knife, but I don't teach you what that knife is capable of or how to use that knife, I'm going to get you killed, right? You're going to, and if you go into any self-defense course that's teaching you how to protect yourself against a weapon that doesn't teach you first how to use the weapon, run, get out of the class. They're going to get you killed, right? I'm your teacher. I'm here to teach you how to protect yourself. So I'm going to tell you the shit you may not want to hear. If you want to be able to protect yourself against unwanted manipulations, you need to understand how these techniques work and have an ability to use them yourself so you can detect them when they're being used. That doesn't mean you have to use them. It means you know enough about these processes that you can detect their use. That's what it's about. Okay. But now I just talked to you about one pattern. What happens? What if you had the ability to make anything you want, cause anything you want in the minds of your listener, even if those things had absolutely nothing in common with each other? That's what the second pattern you're going to learn is going to do. Right? It's called cause and effect. What if you could make what if you had the ability to make anything you want mean anything you want in the minds of your listener? What would happen? Right? That's only 3 of the patterns of the 7. Right? Think about what you could do. Now, one more, I'm only going to talk about one more pattern. I'll let you discover the superpowers of the other 3 when you get the course. What if you had the ability to literally force a person's internal mind movies, the movies they make about the way the world is or what's supposed to happen or what they're fantasizing about, or even what they're afraid of, be exactly what you describe with absolutely 0 chance of being resisted or being wrong, and they would just fall deeper into trance? What could you do with a superpower like that? That's 4 of the patterns I've just talked about. And think about what that's like magic on steroids, right? That's part of what you now add that to the echo technique, the 3 magic questions protocol, the resistance removal protocol that you'll also learn, and you have some of the most powerful, unstoppable influence technologies on the planet. $297 value, but it just gets deeper. What if you had the ability to simply manage the emotional states of other people, paying attention to where they're at, knowing exactly what sequence of states to move them through to get them into the state where they're willing and eager to do exactly what you want them to do? I'm going to show you step by step in easy to use bite-sized chunks how to make that happen. Okay. Well, you could literally have them salivating to want to do the things that you want them to do, but they want to do it for their own reasons, and they're going to thank you for it. Okay. What if you had the ability to make anything you like, if to get somebody, let's say for a moment, somebody said they didn't want to do something. What if you had a little conversational framework that you could use that would cause them to create a compelling, emotional, real reason for wanting to do the thing they just told you they didn't want to do with zero resistance? What would happen to your closing rate? What would happen to the level of cooperation that you got from your spouse or your children? Right? I've used this on my wife, with my wife. I've used this on my kids when they didn't want to go to jiu-jitsu class. I've used this over the phone. I've used this to help people get over broken hearts. It's a super powerful conversational framework. We call it the resistance removal formula. It is one of the core elements in this particular training. So think about the things that you'll be able to do. And I'm not even all the way done yet, right? What if you could simply step into the brain, the sequences of steps a person's brain takes for doing something, insert whatever content you wanted into that process, and they would do exactly what you wanted them to do and feel like it's completely natural to just do it. That's what hijacking someone's internal behavior code is all about. Everybody has codes for the behaviors they generate. I'm going to teach you how to spot them, how to fit what you want into it, link it to their values so that they just want to do it for their own reasons, and they feel completely natural about it, right? It's ethical and it's honest. Now, can these things be used unethically? Yeah, you betcha. But I'm telling you right here, right now, that if you understand what I'm truly teaching you, you never need to lie, cheat, or steal to get everything you want in life. In fact, you'll move through the world and people will just love you. How many people want to be more loved? Anybody? Type it in the chat, right? You're on the fast track, okay? We're going to teach you step by step how to do that. Now, that's just a few of the things that you're going to learn in the Secrets of Human Influence core home study course. We're also going to include the Killer Influence Mind Control Manifesto. Now, what is this? This is over a 200-page manual that covers not only everything we've just talked about, it also covers proxemic social hypnotic operators. These are places to stand or sit in relation to another human being that cause them to think about you either more favorably or less favorably, to pay more attention to you and give you more authority or not, right? Where to put your enemies. Like if you're going to do a presentation and you know somebody's going to, if somebody's going to be oppose you, how can you engineer the environment so they're sitting in the weakest position to influence and combat you? How to stand and where to stand in networking functioning events so that you get the most attention from the meeting host and they direct more people to you. How to present to audiences, how to be successful. Oh yeah, in fact, there's a process, Lila, called the interview crusher, which is connected to the emotional bonding process. We've had people go into job interviews that they patently were not qualified for. In fact, they told the interviewer that they don't have the qualifications. They went through the interview, got to a certain specific point where they deployed the interview crusher, and they were offered the job anyway, right? One of the things that you have to understand when you go to interview for a position, your curriculum gets you the interview, but your CV or your resume looks like everybody else's. It's not going to be about, oh, Alex, I actually use this stuff. I actually was on full ride scholarships through my entire undergraduate education because of this. I was the only work study with his own office. I could tell you all kinds of things that this technology did in my undergrad years. I was hired by every college I ever worked for in the recruiting department because of these skills. In addition to my work study, in addition to being given the editor's position of the college newspaper, and they paid me in scholarships to do it. Okay, so again, there's a lot of things that this, again, I didn't create this stuff for you. I mean, I know that sounds weird. I never intended back in the day to be sharing a lot of these tools and tactics with the general public. I did it because I had things I wanted in my life, and these were the shortest distance between where I was and where I wanted to be. Lo and behold, when I moved to LA, I find out that so many people are frustrated and disempowered because they don't understand how a few simple things done in the right sequence can open the floodgates of everything that you want. So the Killer Influence Mind Control Manifesto takes everything I've just talked about and it just builds on it, right? It just builds on it. Things get so easy and so fast. You won't believe it. You'll learn about the 4 pillars of irresistible hypnotic influence: authority, affinity, attractivity, and acquiescence. You'll learn about cold reading and speed profiling. You'll learn about meta programs, which are different filters that every human being has that you can hack and form your presentations to just make them want to do things faster, right? Again, you don't need to lie. You don't need to cheat. You don't need to steal. You just need to ask the right questions and they'll give you the information so you can deliver what they want in return for giving you what you want. It's a win-win all the way. Okay, we'll talk about dirty, rotten tricks. Now, these are little gray hat areas that sometimes these more manipulative people might try to pull on you. We'll show you how they work, what buttons they're trying to push, and teach you how to do them so you can detect them if they're trying to be used on you. Okay, and that's just a tiny, tiny piece of what we'll be talking about. We'll also give you access to a special online community, which we'll talk about later in the presentation, that will allow you to take your skills and work with people just like you who want to get better at this stuff. Okay, total value on this is $2,497. But as you can probably guess, to quote Ron Popeil, but wait, there's more. If you grab your course today, I want to give you the best deal humanly possible. So I'm going to give you these give you these exclusive special bonuses that include my #1 NLP influence training program in the world, 3 years running. This is Defense Against the Dark Arts, the anti-manipulation, hypnotic influence, and behavioral profiling secrets. This is a course that builds on the Killer Influence curriculum that we just talked about and takes it even further into the art and science of behavioral profiling. We're going to talk about the 21 different behavioral red flags that human beings are: narcissists, dark triads, Machiavellians, human traffickers, con artists, any form of what we call character disturbed personality, antisocial personality candidates will use to avoid taking responsibility for their actions. We're going to show you the tactics they use to gaslight you and how to counter them. We're going to teach you about Renegade reframing, how to take any attack, any attempt at making you feel less than, and turn it around, full tilt boogie on the person trying to make you feel bad or manipulate you in an unhealthy way. We're going to teach you how to spot and detect liars, how to read faces, so that you can look at somebody and know with a high degree of accuracy what kind of person you're dealing with. We're going to teach you the flag system developed by a lady named Wendy Patrick: focus, lifestyle, association, and groups, that allows you to go and check and profile and do background checks on the people that you're going to go out on a date with, that you're getting ready to job interview, what to look for, what red flags will come up. We're going to teach you about hoovering. Now, many of you have encountered narcissists from time to time. Maybe you've even gotten into relationships with these people. You may notice that if you ever manage to get out of that relationship, they have all of these really sneaky ways to try and suck you back in. We're going to teach you all of the different, it's called hoovering. We're going to teach you all the 6 or 7 different hoovering tactics that these narcissistic, misogynistic, evildoers, these abusers out there who want to take advantage of you, will try to perpetrate on you to try and suck you back in to those relationships. We're going to teach you all about how to reframe things. We're going to teach you how to spot micro expressions and to know when people are repressing emotions and things of that nature, on top of all the review of all the influence tactics and traits that go into the Killer Influence system. This is a $1,997 value. We're going to give this to you 100% absolutely free, because we want you to be ready. We want you to have all the tools that you need to not only influence people to get everything you want ethically and honestly, but to stand up to the dark, evil persuaders and manipulators of the world, and have a willingness to deploy these things, right? Combined value is $4,487 if you register before the end of the webinar. The next thing we're going to show you is the Renegade reframing system. Now, think about this for a moment. What if for every argument you got into for every limiting belief that you had or a client had, for every objection a person had in a selling situation, you had at least 14 different ways to transform and change that limiting belief into a yes in seconds. Think about that. And this is before you start combining them. What if you could literally change any belief anyone had, any argument anyone's making, and turn it to your corner in 30 seconds or less? Would that be a useful skill to have? Yes or yes? What if you could literally talk anyone you wanted into anything you wanted in a completely natural conversational way? That's what Renegade reframing is all about. Renegade reframing is about how to interact directly with a person's internal belief system and using any one of 14 specific patterns, either individually or in combination, completely change their perspective, their mindset, the meaning that they put to any conversation or interaction. The thing you need to understand is that narcissists and social manipulators are exceptionally good at doing this to you. Now, they're a lot more malevolent and a lot more aggressive in their application of these skills. But if you don't understand what they're doing, it will get you, right? Because one of the effects of deploying these patterns, and I don't know if narcissists read books on how to do this, I'm using narcissists as a catch-all for just the evil assholes of the world, right? But one of the things that happens is there's like 21, like I said, 21 different patterns that people use to just change the meaning of an interaction. Once you understand what that looks like, what that sounds like, you'll be able to detect it anytime and reverse and flip the script on them, okay? This is a very, very powerful system. It's based on something in NLP called sleight of mouth, but we've made it a whole lot more fun and a whole lot easier to use. It comes with a full manual, complete 3-day training on video. It also comes with a card game we call the reframe game that you can play, where you could literally sit around and like, someone shoots out a limiting belief, they throw down a reframe card, and you have to use that reframe card to change the belief. And you can gamify the whole thing. And we found that when you turn this kind of training into a game, you internalize it faster, and the stuff just becomes more and more spontaneous. You may have seen me do a little demonstration of this. If you saw the video, how to brainwash yourself into getting rid of negative emotions, there was one segment where I had one of the guys tell me one of his limiting beliefs, and I gave it to him, and I reframed it, and he tried to reframe my reframe, and there was this little battle that happened over the next 2 or 3 minutes, and then he just gave up because he couldn't continue battling the reframes, right? It's a very short segment, but it's exactly what it looks like. It's just boom, it's just that quick. This is going to give you the ability to just zing people anytime, anywhere, anytime you perceive an attack, anytime you perceive an argument coming, anytime you perceive somebody digging their heels in or trying to resist you, you deploy these patterns, and all of a sudden they'll find their own reasons for wanting to do the very thing that they weren't going to do 5 minutes ago. Okay, we're going to give this to you absolutely free because we want you to have all the tools. It's a $6,484 value combined if you register before the end of the webinar, right? Now, what if you had the ability to just put an entire room full of people under your spell? What if you could just easily and naturally start talking, and all of a sudden people just go into trance and they have the most amazing experience, and they're having all the the experiences you want them to have. And at the end of that presentation, they literally raise their hand, rush to the back of the room to take you up on your product or service, to find some way to work with you on a deeper level. What would that mean to your personal life? What would that mean to your business? What would that mean to any volunteer groups that you run or charities that you work with, promoting for venture capitalists? Think about this. This is one of the most powerful courses that we teach, but it's what we call CPI level 4, charisma and conversion. It's all about how to take all of these skills that you've learned in the previous trainings and apply them in mass, apply them to large and small groups of people so that they become inspired and motivated to work with you and to learn things from you and do things with you exactly the way you want. And one of the things we actually do is we actually deconstruct the talks of high-level presenters, and we show you all the hidden hypnosis in it, all the hidden NLP, all the things that triple A level speakers like Tony Robbins and T. Harv Eker and Mark Victor Hansen and those kinds of people are actually, Joe Dispenza, another one, are using but not teaching to get people inspired and wired to run to the back of the room. Right. And even though all of these people, they have trainers trainings where you're supposed to learn these skills, they don't teach these skills in those trainings. I know because I have students who went to those trainings, and when I started unpacking these things, they got pissed. They got like super pissed because they bought into the messaging that was being deployed on them hypnotically, but they were never taught what was done. I'm going to teach you exactly how it's done, how to do it, so you can choose which parts to use and which parts to not use, but more importantly, so that you can detect when these things are being used on you. If you ever found yourself rushing to the back of the room to buy somebody's stuff, you need this course, right? You can't avoid influence, but you can manage it. You can choose, because of your extended enhanced awareness, what to do when presented with these influential messages: to ignore them, to reframe them, to allow them allow yourself to be influenced and succumb to them. Without awareness, my friends, there is no choice, right? First thing you'll learn when you come to Killer Influence is anything outside of your awareness is outside of your control. Let me repeat that 2 more times because it's important. Anything that is outside of your conscious awareness is outside of your conscious control. You have no choice. My first job as your teacher, as your guide, as your guardian in this process is to teach you systematically how to become more aware so you can choose how you're going to respond. Now, the addendum to that particular rule of influence is this: just because you're not aware of something doesn't mean it's not influencing you. So again, if you're serious about protecting yourself, you need to learn these skills, right? I can't make it any plainer than that. If you know you need the help, if you know this will change your life, this is where you need to be. This is your next step, okay? Total combined value, if you look at everything, is $8,481 when you register before the end of the webinar. Now, let's just review this really quick. You're going to get the Secrets of Human Influence 17 video, 7-stage universal persuasion protocol. This will allow you to hypnotize and influence people anytime, anywhere, under any situation or circumstance, completely ethically and honestly, with almost zero chance of being caught, right? It's going to come with the Killer Influence Mind Control Mastery Manual. It's a $2,497 value. You're going to get the Killer Influence Defense Against the Dark Arts, Anti-Manipulation, and Behavioral Profiling Secrets Home Study Course. It's a $1,997 value. We're going to give you the Renegade Reframing Hypnotic Self-Defense and How to Instantly Overcome Any Objection or Change Any Belief in Seconds Home Study Course. It's a $1,997 value. We're going to give that to you absolutely free. And then you're going to get the Charisma and Conversion Hypnotic Presentation Skills for presenters and public speakers. It's a $1,997 value. Once again, you're going to get it free. Total combined value is $8,481 if you were to try to buy these things individually on our website, which, by the way, you can't. Some of these products are only available in this webinar package. So if any of this was appealing to you, you know what to do next. Okay. Now, today, I want to give you the best deal humanly possible. I know what times are like out there. And by the way, if you want to make more money, even during this economy, these are the skills you need, because every predator out there is going hog wild to try to get what few dollars you got left. Let's stop them in their tracks. I want to give you the best deal humanly possible. So you're not going to have to pay $8,481. You're not going to pay $6,481. We're not even going to make you pay $53.47, although it's a deal at that, right? We're not going to charge you $33.47 or even $23.47. You heard me right. We're not. You can get it all today, downloadable to your computer. You can start training tonight for one low installment of just $997. If you need a little extra help, you need a little extra time, We can break that up for you into 3 easy installments of just $397 each. Guys, it doesn't get much easier than this. This is how it works. If you're serious about protecting yourself, this is where you got to go. So all you got to do is go to www.killerinfluence.com/GO. That's www.killerinfluence.com/GO. One more time with feeling. www.killerinfluence.com/go. And that as in go right now. Click that link, click that link, click that link, and get your course. And I'm going to explain to you why you want to do that right now. But first, I want to talk about something that we all worry about. Is this real? Is this really going to help me? Is this really going to do everything David is telling me it's going to do? The answer is no. It's going to do more than that. It's going to go beyond helping you. It's going to change your life. It's going to give you the tools and the keys to get everything that you truly want in an ethical and honest way. You'll be able to look at yourself in the mirror. You'll be able to help your children, your family, your friends, anybody who you deem worthy of help, you can help. If you want to climb the corporate ladder, it'll help you do that. If you want to start your own business and put more people as clients, it'll help you do that. If you want to write persuasive sales copy and counter objections before they have a chance to start, it'll do that. If you want to destroy all of your limiting beliefs and move forward faster than you ever thought possible, it'll do that. But I understand that sometimes we're a little nervous, we're a little timid, for lack of a better word. And that's why I want you to grab this course and try it for 60 days. If by the end of 60 days, you're not on the fast track to making more money, attracting more people, closing more deals, if you're not on the fast track to the financial freedom and feeling more secure and confident and powerful that you truly want, if more people aren't saying yes, if you're not suddenly becoming more popular, if you're not 100% satisfied in any way, I will refund every single cent that you've invested in this course. Because if it doesn't work for you, I don't want your money. I don't want your tuition. I don't want your investment. I want people that I can help. You have absolutely nothing to risk here, because if it doesn't deliver, we'll refund your money, and you can even keep the courses you've downloaded. How's that? Right? Try it for 60 days. Now, don't be a douche. And on day 59, even though it's working for you, because we said we'd give you a 60-day refund, you pull a fast one on us. We're aware of that, right? Don't be a douche, right? But if for 60 days after you get this program and you need help, and you call us and you email us, and for some mysterious reason, it's just not working, we'll give you a full money back refund. No questions. We'll ask questions, but we'll still give you the refund, right? That's my commitment to you, because I want you to be empowered. You're no good to the world broke. You're no good to the world weak. You're no good to the world at the mercy of the persuasion manipulators out there. Okay? You have no risk. Okay? So all you got to do is click this link right now. Go to killerinfluence.com/GO. Click the link, click the link, click the link. Don't listen to that negative, self-defeating voice in your head that's telling you all the reasons why you can't. That's the part of you that wants to stay the same. You want to stay the same? Fine. You want something different? You know what to do, right? Click a link and go, right? Let's talk about why I wanted you to stay till the end of the webinar. A, because if what I talked to you about wasn't exciting enough already, if you grab your course, if you raise your hand, click that link and join us on the other side, I want to include some of the most powerful extra fast action bonuses you can imagine. What if you could, what if for 90 days you could log in to a private practice group and drill down on exactly the skills that you need, all the sticking points that you might have in applying this material one-on-one with a group of people just like you, with me, working on this stuff and just drilling and skilling. We are going to give you a 90-day 3-month trial membership to the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program. This has been an ongoing training program that I have been doing since October of 2010. Next month is literally our 13-year anniversary. We've run this every single month since October of 2010. And we've videotaped every single training. I literally log in, or we just restarted our live trainings where people come in now and I say, what do you want to learn? 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 And I write all those things up on the board. I look where all the connecting threads are, where all those things overlap. I create a lesson plan for you. And for the next 6 hours, we drill you on those skills and only those skills until you can do them in your sleep. At the end of that, you're going to go out into the world and you're going to apply those skills. You're going to come back next month and I'm going to do the exact same thing. Okay, what do you want to learn today? What do you want to work on 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 today? And you know what's going to happen? I'm going to create a lesson plan and we're going to drill and skill for 5.5, 6 hours. And you're going to go off into the world and you're going to apply your new skill level. And you're going to come back again every month until your trial is done or you decide that you want to extend your membership. We'll teach you how to do that. Right? Now, I just mentioned that we videotaped every single session of this NLP Power Practice group since October of 2010. As a byproduct of this package, you're not only going to get the 3-month trial membership to the live hands-on training, you're also going to get full unfettered access to the entire 13-year archive. We got to update the PowerPoint because it's more than 11 years. 13 years of content that has never been seen on YouTube, never been part of a product. You can binge watch it just like you binge watched our stuff on YouTube for months. And every month we're going to add more content. Okay, everything from hypnosis to conversational persuasion, regression, energetics, remote influence, accelerated learning, memory enhancement, law of attraction, dating and attraction, conflict resolution. If it's in my wheelhouse, lie detection, body language, face reading. If it's in my wheelhouse, it's open to practice, right? Again, because these are I will warn you right up front, because these are member-driven sessions, a lot of times there'll be a lot of overlap in content from one video to the next because a lot of people have the same questions. But there'll also be stuff I've never taught anywhere else in that format, right? So you get to binge watch literally thousands of hours of video that nobody else will ever get a chance to see. It's a $1,597 value. We're going to give this to you absolutely free if you're one of the first people to click on that link before I log off the webinar. Remember I said the earlier package I described, you have until 11:59 p.m. tonight to decide when you're going to get it. But these bonuses that I'm talking about right now, they go when I go away, they go away. When I click off this webinar, they go off this webinar. So if you want the opportunity to have me personally mentoring and guiding you and having people to work with on these skills, which is the fast track to learning them, you need to click that link right now, right? It's a $10,078 value. Alex is saying, so caught does not imply guilt or wrongness. Absolutely not. For those of you who want to get started even faster, I'm going to give you one of my flagship programs. This is called the Stealth Instant Conversational Hypnosis Crash Course. Now, Stealth, believe it or not, even though it's a cool name, Stealth, it actually is an acronym. It actually stands for Strategic Suggestion Through Emotionally Amplified Linguistically Transmitted Hypnosis, or Linguistically Transferred Hypnosis. It is one of the most powerful products I've ever created, and it's designed for people who want to download it tonight and hypnotize people tomorrow. It's that fast. It will cover the 7 most powerful language patterns that exist: hypnotic anchoring, instant and rapid inductions, the 3 magic questions protocol that causes people to go from complete stranger to bordering on falling in love with you in as little as 20 minutes, lie detection skills, and a whole bunch of other stuff that we're not even going to talk about. You'll have to discover that. It comes with manuals, it comes with transcripts, it comes with downloadable MP3 audios, so you can listen to this stuff while you're driving. I don't recommend it though, because it's hypnotic, right? It's a $997 value. We're going to give this to you absolutely free because we know time matters. We know the faster you can get started, the faster you're going to become successful, and the more excited you're going to be that you downloaded this course. Okay. Believe me when I tell you, I have understated everything that this course and these courses will do for you. Right. And finally, for those of you who learn better one-on-one, for those of you who like full immersion, be one of the next 21 people to register, and we're going to give you a free VIP super ticket to our next Killer Influence Live, Secrets of Covert Hypnosis, 5-day covert hypnosis certification event. Remember, Killer Influence for the last, since 2020, has been named the #1 NLP training program in the world. You're going to get a free seat, right? Even if it's sold out, we're going to make a seat for you. You can sit front row center right next to Seth, right next to Holly or Moss, and learn the best system for influencing humans ethically and honestly and protecting yourself from manipulation imaginable. It's a 5-day training, January 23rd through the 27th here in San Diego. 5 full days of hands-on training, how to control your emotional state so no one else can push your buttons ever again, how to transfer those emotions into other people so they become emotionally and biologically compelled to do what you want them to do, how to emanate and charisma on command so that people just feel your presence when you walk in and just flock to you like a moth to a flame, how to make people like, love, and trust you on demand, anytime, anywhere, how to hypnotize people during normal conversations without sounding vague, creepy, or confusing, how to read anyone instantly, detect lies, and so much more. In fact, if you remember everything I talked about in the Secrets of Human Influence home study course and the Defense Against the Dark Arts course, that's what you're going to be learning. 5 days live in a room with me, drilling and skilling and embodying these skills so that you can move through the world the way and get everything you want by helping other people get what they want. Now, Seth is actually correcting my math. It's actually $3,150 value. It's another typo. This is why Seth keeps volunteering to check my PowerPoints, because I always forget. But even if at $2,250, it's still a huge bargain, right? It's $13,325 value if you do the math, right? Now, the nice thing about this VIP ticket is that it doesn't expire. Let's say for some reason you can't make the training. You can't make the training in January. You just pick up the phone, let Moss or Holly know, and we'll move you to the next Killer Influence training. So once you have this ticket, it's yours until you use it. If you've had Killer Influence and you want to gift that ticket to a family member or a friend or a coworker, you can transfer that skill or that ticket to the person. If we raise the price, your price is guaranteed. You get to come no matter how much we charge for this program, right? If something comes up at the last minute, you can't come, we'll move you. If your schedule frees up at the last minute, but the training is sold out, we'll make a seat just for you. We'll actually make a space for you so that you can attend because you are one of our VIP ticket holders. Now, I'm going to tell you something in a few short months, probably sooner, we're actually going to change our policy regarding VIP tickets. It'll be like a one and done kind of a thing. Whereas if a lot of people have figured out that they can hack our system by just buying these webinar packages and hoarding the VIP tickets. We're actually going to start creating or modifying our software. So if you've had a VIP ticket in the past, it's going to flag you and we'll know. But for right now, you can still get these VIP tickets. Now, let's say you've had Killer Influence and you want to use that VIP ticket for something else. If it's a training of equal or lesser value, we'll let you swap out that VIP Killer Influence ticket for a different training. If you want to come to Renegade reframing, for example, or face reading, or identity by design, or vibrational influence, provided you have the prerequisites, you can swap out that VIP ticket. Most people, I recommend you just take the Killer Influence because it's going to give you the most broad spectrum, biggest bang for your buck out there. Okay, and it's going to lay the foundation for you. So, total value. Now, these three bonuses that I just talked about, the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program, the Stealth Instant Conversation Hypnosis Crash Course, and this VIP live ticket, they're available to you until I log off the webinar. If you call and talk to Moss after I log off, you'll still get the basic package, but you'll miss out on these fast action bonuses. Now, why am I doing this? It's really simple. The behavior that gets rewarded gets repeated. The behavior that gets repeated gets reinforced. Okay? I want you to be an action taker. And I want to reward you for doing that. I want to reward you for taking the initiative and choosing to level up your life. Now, I can't do it. I'm really good at what I do, but I can't multiply zeros. If you're not in the room or if you're not in the course, I can't help you. Right? Now, take the stuff from tonight's webinar, binge watch our other content on YouTube if you must, before you choose to buy this, right? Or just buy this, then binge watch, and then when you have your courses, see all the things I'm actually doing in those videos that are being taught in the Killer Influence program, right? $13,325 worth of amazing stuff that will change your life. Okay, so let's just review this really quick. Secrets of Human Influence Home Study Course, $2,497 value. We're going to give, that's the basic package. We're going to include absolutely free the Defense Against the Dark Arts, $1,997 value, free. Renegade Reframing, the art of conversational belief change, overcome any objection, master any argument in seconds, $1,997 value. We're going to give that to you free. Charisma and Conversion, $1,997 value, free. Stealth, or the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Program, $1,597 value. We're going to give it to you free. Stealth Instant Conversation Hypnosis Crash Course, $997 value. We're going to give that to you absolutely free as well. Killer Influence VIP Super Ticket for the 5-day covert hypnosis certification boot camp, the most cutting edge, highest ranked NLP training and covert hypnosis training program in the world. It's actually a $3,150 value. We're going to give that to you absolutely free. Total package value is $13,325. You can get yours for just $997. Or if you need to, break it up into 3 easy installments of $397 each. All you got to do is click this link, go to www.killerinfluence.com, click the link and go. www.killerinfluence.com/go. Click the link, click the link, click the link. I can hear the phone ringing off the hook downstairs as Moss is fielding phone calls. If you're calling, first thing to understand, you will probably get the voicemail because the phone is ringing off the hook right now, right? Only 21 people get this VIP ticket, right? If you have other financial concerns, we might have some flexibility, but that's really up to Moss, right? If he decides you deserve it, he might help you out a little bit more. But pretty much this is what we're offering. You're either ready or you're not. It's that simple. I'm not invested in whether you do this or not. I just want you to make a choice. That's something I learned from my mentor, Lisa Sasevich. Okay. But if you do call and you get the voicemail, please, 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 please leave all of your contact information, your name, your email, your phone number. If you call and you leave that information and we follow up with you tonight or tomorrow, you will qualify for all of the bonuses. All of the bonuses. Okay. If you do not, if you just call, you get the voicemail and you hang up and then try to call back tomorrow, you will not get the fast action bonuses. Let me be very clear. You will not, you will lose out. You will miss out on the VIP ticket. You will miss out on the NLP Power Mastermind. You will miss out on the Stealth Hypnosis, Instant Conversation Hypnosis Crash Course. But you still get everything else. So it's still a fuck ton good deal, right? Anyway, I know a lot of you are calling. I know a lot of you have questions about the packages, things of that nature. Brandon and Holly and Moss are in the chats there to help you, to answer your questions. Seth is there to help you. What we're going to do right now is we're going to take a 7-minute break. When we come back from that break, we're going to commence part 3 of our webinar. We're going to start drilling down on the defense against the dark arts. We're going to talk about victimology. We're going to talk about reframing. We're going to talk about exactly the applications and techniques that you most want to focus on for the rest of tonight's webinar. This is where it becomes your webinar, right? So let's take a 7-minute break so you can finalize your questions, get your packages answered, do whatever you need to do. In 7 minutes, we'll come back and I will pop back on and we will continue training. Sound like a plan? Click that link right now. Click it, click it, click it. Let me know who's coming. I'll see you in 7 minutes. Remember, folks, we're going to be back in just a few minutes to do more training. So as you're, after you finalize your packages, after you click those links, type in the chat for me what things you want to learn about for the next half hour, 45 minutes, an hour. Just type it in the chat and we will actually create that. We'll do a little bit of masterminding. We'll create that lesson plan right on the spot and we'll teach you more and more really cool stuff that you can begin using right away. You guys are running poor Moss ragged on the phone. So while we're waiting, I'm back from my break. So if you guys, again, I'm here in the chats. I'm here by audio. So if you guys have questions, by all means, ask. So Ali's saying, whenever I have a lot of focus, my neurons are spread all over the world at this time. I also absorb negative energies, which is why I often make mistakes. I need a shield. Not bad energy comes miles away near me. Ali, I'm not sure what you're really asking me here. It sounds like you're asking for some kind of a psychic shielding to stop the energetic influences. Jax is asking, keeping the client moving forward now that they are open up, very resistant. Okay, so resistance removal, sort of. Okay. We actually do, Ali, we actually do teach some of that in the killer influence training. There's this process we teach called sphere of influence, which is a combination of the state control training and the advanced rapport training based on how the autonomic nervous system functions. And one of the byproducts of that is that you can actually create a very resistant psycho-emotional state that tends to bounce negative energies away. So is this like the law of attraction? No. No, this is not, this class, this material is not law of attraction material. This is very much about applying and employing real techniques in the real world on real human beings in real time, right? Whereas law of attraction has more of a delayed effect in many cases. It's a little bit more woo-woo. It's still trackable, but what I have found is that if you have the killer influence training system, your law of attraction skills tend to work better because you have better state control training. One of the reasons that, let me just jump out really quick. One of the things that you may, if you're new to Planet David, you may not know this, but one of the things that you will discover is that the killer influence system is actually a prerequisite for 80% of all of our other trainings. It's either going to be killer influence or identity by design. And the reason for that is because of the emphasis on state control training. And there's no other trainer there's only one other guy that even comes close to what we do in terms of teaching you how to run your system. And he doesn't even, it's not even on the same scale, right? And one of the things you won't ever see on a public video, I show lots of stuff. Like people tell me all the time, I give away better stuff for free than most people pay for. And I'm very proud of that because I believe in money talks, bullshit walks, right? So if I teach you something, how do we differentiate from the people just rehashing old NLP and stuff like that? I got to show you this shit works. I got to give you something that you can take out into the world and test. So I give you the echo technique. I give you the emotional bonding checklist. I give you the resistance removal formula. I give you these things so you can prove. I give you pieces, nuclear pieces of the system. The entire system is pretty much nuclear that you can just take out and run with it, right? Why? Because do you buy a car without test driving it? Do you just jump into bed with somebody because they want you to go to bed with them? No, you get to know them. You figure out, is this somebody who's credible? Is this somebody who is what they say they are what is what they're offering, delivering what they're promising? And so that's what we do. That's what the whole channel is about. It's about you coming here with problems you want to solve. We'll give you the things to solve your problems, realizing it, but laying the foundation for other things. So killer influence is the state control training in killer influence is one of those areas that is one of our proprietary processes. And there are people out there who will tell you it is Jedi shit, right? If you have that killer influence training, Ali's saying sort of control the reptile brain. It goes so much further than that, Ali. So much further than just the reptile brain. Remember, you have three brains. You have the paleocortex, which is the oldest part of you. Right above that, overlaying on that, is what we call the limbic system or the mammalian brain. It's about the intelligence level of a dog. It's the deeply emotional part of you. And over that is your neocortex, your rational thinking brain, the part of you that thinks in words and facts and makes up stories for why things might be true. And the thing is, if you want to be an influencer, you've got to understand the dynamics of each of these three brains and what the pecking order of power and authority and scope of influence is, right? And I can't do that in a 3-hour webinar. I mean, if this is the scope of everything there is to learn, I've got time to give you this. So my job is to take you as far as I can in the time that we have and show you where to go for the next level. And I hope I've done that. I hope I've given you guys some really powerful bite-sized nuggets that you can just go out and put to use, right? I want to take that further though. And that's what this part of the training is. This is where we say, okay, these are the foundations. This is how you get the full system. Now let's customize and come away with the things that are on your list, the things you want to satisfy. Remember that list I had you make? Let's move towards satisfying those needs, if that's okay. Is that okay? Can we do that? Raise your hands if you're with me. Right. For those of you who hung out and stayed till the end, I want to compliment you on your endurance, right? Okay. So Royce is asking, wondering if IBD and killer influence are interchangeable for the prerequisites for the more advanced courses. In some cases, they are. IBD is a great course if you're therapeutically oriented. But if you're not therapeutically oriented, killer influence is usually the better fit, even for things like vibrational influence. You can squeak by with IBD, but I would much rather see most of you in killer influence. All right, so let me see these other questions here. Okay. Yeah, Lang is saying, okay, that's Holly answering that question. Okay, so type in the chat for me for the next hour or so. What do you want to know about? What do you want to be able to do? What do you want to learn about? Talk to me. This is where I'm just gonna reach into my bag of tricks like Felix the cat, and I'm going to pull out some cool shit. What do you want to know? What do you want to learn about? When would now be a good time to answer that question? Okay, here. Not seeing anybody posting anything. Ah, here we go. Bag of tricks, need those. Okay. Terry says, I signed up and really look forward to meeting you in San Diego. Welcome aboard, Terry. Glad you're joining us. Okay, join Terry, join John, click that link and get in there so I can mentor you personally. Okay, that's what I want to do. That's my jam. How to protect from the dark arts. Okay, so you remember that stupid checklist that we made, the things you mostly want and need? Memorize it. Here's why. What predators are really good at doing is they're good at triggering emotional appeal. They're very, very good at what we call the 5-phase psychology of attraction process. Now, this is this particular formula that they employ has 5 attributes to it. Okay, so write this down. Proactivity, emotional appeal, credibility, identification, affirmation. Let me do it again. I might not do it in the same exact order. Proactivity, emotional appeal, affirmation, identification, credibility. One more time. Proactivity, credibility, emotional appeal, affirmation, credibility, and identification. Okay, so just so I know you've got that, type those 5 things in the chat so I know you've got it. Affirmation, proactivity. Emotional appeal, very good. Let me see if I have my, okay. Now, let's talk about proactivity first and why this is important. True predators tend to be very natural, very gifted profilers. They have a knack for sizing people up, for knowing what their emotional hot buttons are. Does this work on 66-year-olds? It works on anything with a pulse. Literally, if you go watch the Brainwash Yourself into Getting Rid of Negative Emotions and Overcoming Procrastination video that I released on Monday, you'll see one of my colleagues, Richard Rumble, talking about how he used these exact same techniques to hypnotically program and communicate with his mother, his wife's mother, who was had a stroke and was unable to talk, and she was able to get him to respond because it stimulated different parts of the brain. And that's somebody who's had a stroke, right? So what I'm saying is, if they have a pulse and a functioning nervous system and they can actually read your words or hear you, these techniques will work. Now, you do have to create and you do have to maintain your own state control. That's one of the big deals. If you can't control your state, there's lots of highly paid, well-funded agencies out there happy to control your state for you, and it probably won't be to your advantage. Okay? You either have to take responsibility for controlling your own mindset and becoming aware of these things so you can choose how to respond, or you can be a victim. It's pretty much that, right? So Gail is saying productivity, no, it's not productivity, Gail, it's proactivity. Let me put that in the room. So proactivity, proactivity. Now let's talk about proactivity. Once again, these people are tremendously good profilers. They know, they can look at you and in a few minutes know exactly how much money you make. They know what your emotional triggers are. They know what your emotional vulnerabilities are. And they're very, very good at something called impression management. Impression management is the ability to take on an identity, a background, a social media profile that is most appealing emotionally to the target. Manfredo says like pacing. It's kind of like pacing, Manfredo, but it goes deeper than just, it is on a very, for all intents and purposes, it is. But we don't like to use that word pacing in the systems that we teach. And one of the reasons for that is that nobody understands what the fuck that means unless you study NLP, right? And most of the people that I train and that I work with, they may know about NLP, but most of them haven't studied it. But it does go to this fact that what these predators are doing is they're creating, if you've ever heard anything about tradecraft or counter-espionage, they create a legend. They create a persona that is most emotionally appealing to the type of person they want to take advantage of. Right? This is one of the reasons why the Defense Against the Dark Arts has so much profiling training in it, is because you need to profile the profilers. Right? Profilers come in basically two flavors. They're either law enforcement or criminals. But you, as an average human being going about your world, need to be an expert in how to size people up. Yes, Terry says, a well-constructed facade made to entice the target to buy into. That's exactly right. Now, once they've gotten that buy-in, they're going to trigger certain things. They're going to trigger affirmation. What does that mean? This person is going to befriend you. This person is going to work their way into your life, and they are going to acknowledge, affirm, and validate every single thing you believe. If you're having an argument with your parents, they're going to take your side. If you have a problem at work, they're going to tell you what an asshole their boss is. They're going to affirm that you're right. Okay? They're going to affirm that in every way possible. Okay? That's a form of validation. Built into that legend, that persona that they're creating, they're going to build things that amplify their authority and credibility, right? They may carry a badge, right? They may wear a minister's collar. They may have a title in front, like professor or doctor or reverend, right? Things that create tremendous authority, right? Alex says that is really creepy. Yes, yes, it's very creepy. That's why they're bad guys, right? This is one of the reasons that we have to be a little bit more playful when we teach these things, because they're downers. But I'm going to tell you right now that if these people have no compunction, as far as you're concerned, you're one of three things. You're either a sheepdog, a sheep, or a wolf, right? I would much rather you be a sheepdog than a sheep, right? Right? This is how it works. Now, this now for this to be truly effective, all 5 elements have to be there. So first thing is proactivity. We need to have the ability as protectors of influence, the influence guardians, the sheepdogs, so to speak. We need the ability to be proactive as well. We need to have the ability to profile the profilers, to figure out how to separate the bad guys or bad girls from the good guys and good girls. Or if you're non-binary, the bad theys from the good theys, right? So that's one of the first skills that we have to have. And to do that, we need passive profiling skills and we need active profiling skills. Passive profiling skills are things that give us direct insight into their personality and temperament. So like our face reading programs, for example, face reading for fun and profit level 1, 2, and 3 are all about looking at somebody's face, extracting core personality traits and temperament. We can't tell character from face reading generally, although we can extrapolate certain tendencies, right? We can't necessarily spot a narcissist or sociopath directly from face reading, but what we can do is, well, actually, that's not necessarily true. In the advanced Shen reading portions of this, which is a little bit on the woo-woo side, where you get to read the energy coming out of people's eyes and things like that, there is this phenomenon known as cold Shen, which is, it's a very bright but cold energy that sociopaths and a lot of high-level predators tend to radiate. Most people's spirit or energy that emanates from them, when it's healthy, it can be bright, but it also has a warm feeling to it. Whereas sociopaths have a little bit of a colder energy. So if you get around people and they're very bright, but there's almost like an emptiness there. For me, as a face reader, for someone who's very in tune with energies, that's something that would raise a red flag for me. I don't expect you guys to have that level of awareness yet. But one of the things that we do is we look at their face and know that certain characteristics will lend themselves more predominantly towards narcissistic or antisocial behaviors. Okay. But there's also things that we look at, like active profiling. So passive profiling is like, how many people here know what microexpressions are? Type in the chat if you know what microexpressions are. Okay. So when we talk about passive profiling versus active profiling, what we're talking about is face reading from the Chinese medical perspective. And then active profiling is microexpression training. So in the version of Defense Against the Dark Arts that you're getting here, there's actually drills, microexpression drill trainings that we use with a die roll. Like we have people write down things they would tell anybody, things they would only tell people they know. And then we have them roll dice, and then you have to read it, and then you start to calibrate their microexpressions. That's what we call active profiling. This is the ability to read people's emotional suppression habits during active conversation. It's a very powerful skill, but it takes a little bit of work. Okay, so these are some of the things that you'll get in the live trainings as well as in the course. But these are some things that we want to start to look at is, what is their baseline, right? When we're working, like in lie detection, for example, we need to be able to calibrate what people are normally like and when they're deviating from that norm. The more we can measure deviation from the baseline, the more we can tell if somebody's being truthful or is a higher level of being truthful versus not being truthful. Okay. So again, profiling and the proactivity segment of this is really critical for you guys. Okay, you've got to learn how to read body language. You've got to learn how to read the vocal tells that people give you. You've got to learn how to become sensitized to the speech patterns that, like I said before, there are like 21 different reframe patterns or responsibility avoidance tactics that narcissistic, sociopathic, dark triad, Machiavellians, psychopaths, they all use. Right. And if you understand what those are and you hear them, then little flags can go off. However, there's another level of profiling that most of you will not use, even though it would save you a metric ton of grief and agony. And that system is known as flags, focused lifestyles associations groups. Okay, it's based on the work of Dr. Wendy Patrick, who wrote the book called Red Flags. And it's all about going to their social media, going to their YouTube channels, going to every place where their information about them is readily available and analyzing their focus, both in person and online, analyzing their lifestyle. What kind of lifestyle are they leading, right? What are the red flags that you look for there? What associations are they involved with, right? In other words, what groups do they belong to? What groups do they hang out in, right? This is a very, very powerful, very, very simple way to create a profile about a person many times before you meet them, okay? So these are things that you can do. Now, I want to help you with that a little bit, right? So remember I said that predators are, most of them are natural profilers. You guys remember I said that? Yes or yes? Okay. What are they looking for? In other words, okay, these people are really good at spotting a menu. How do I take myself off of it? Would it be useful to know what these people are looking for so you can kind of fix it? Gail says yes, and they're good. Yeah. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. If it's okay, I'm going to just review the package we've got for you. And then I want to go back and I want to talk about victimology. I want to talk about what do these negative or malevolent profilers look for when they're selecting targets, right? And we're gonna put body language off to the side for now, because a lot of people talk about the body language of victimization, but there's other socioeconomic and cultural factors that this includes human traffickers, con artists, child molesters, you name it. These are things they're all doing. I know this is negative. I know it's dark. I get that. But you wanted to know this shit, right? Okay. This is I have to teach you both sides or I'm not doing my job. So let's look at victimology. Let's talk about how to take yourself off the menu. Okay. What we're talking about is target selection. How do these predators actually select you? So what are they looking for? Well, these people are going to have no compunction about going through your shit. So if you have SSRIs, serotonin reuptake inhibitors, this is something that will flag you. This is something that can make you much more vulnerable to external influence. If you've had a recent death in the family, if there's a history of mental illness, recent divorce or end of a relationship, if you've had any recent financial problems or recent loss of credit, these can actually weaken your sense of identity, weaken your sense of self, and make you much more vulnerable to certain types of influential approaches. Con artists specifically are looking for these. Grifters are looking for these. Why? Because your self-confidence, your self-esteem, your identity have taken an extreme hit. And so any kind of validation, affirmation, and validation will cause you to cleave to the source of that validation. Okay. When you meet people and they want to accelerate the friendship process and they're telling you all these amazing things and validating your position and supporting you, yes, they may be good friends, but you have to start asking yourself different sets of questions. What's behind this behavior? What could they be getting out of it? Right? Let me just jump out of this because I really need to talk about this. One of the reasons that this is so hard to teach isn't because of what to look for. What makes it hard to teach is the fact that when people are using these strategies on you, you don't want to use them. Okay? How many people here have, by a show of hands in the chat, how many people here have ever watched any of my lie detection videos? Anybody? Okay. So one of the things you'll hear me talk about in the lie detection videos is that people don't always believe lies. A lot of times people will allow a lie even when they know they're being lied to. Why? Because the pain of confronting the truth is actually worse than letting the lie stand. Right? So one of the things that if you read books like Spy the Lie or Get the Truth, these are really great books by Susan Carnicero and her associates. One of the things they'll talk about is deception squared. In other words, when you decide you want to look for deception, you have to focus only on the deception and ignore everything that's true. Why? Because you have inherent inside of you something called a truth bias. You have this inherent need, because of your socialization, to give people the benefit of the doubt. Understand that? All they have to do many times to trigger that is serotonin reuptake inhibitors, Rachel. It's a form of, I think it's either an antidepressant. I can't remember off the top of my head. Yeah, strategic serotonin reuptake inhibitors, right? Or selective, selective, okay? When somebody is applying this 5-phase formula, you have to remember something. If they're doing it well, they're triggering inside of you all the feelings you've always wanted. They're creating an imbalanced power dynamic where you have all of these good feelings, you have all this validation, you have this support system that is separate from everything else in your environment. And because you're getting all of those emotional needs met from this one person, the concept, the idea, the thought, much less the act of doing anything that threatens it hurts. It hurts. You're terrified. Well, my God, what if this person isn't who they make themselves out to be? Remember I talked about, we're going to talk a lot about emotions. It's your emotions that make you stupid if you don't control them, if you don't understand how that works. Smart people do stupid shit all the time because of the emotions. Now, lest you think, well, I'll just get rid of my emotions and everything will be good. No, it doesn't work that way. All decision-making is based on emotion. But when the emotions are overwhelming and control you, you lose your ability to evaluate and make rational decisions. And so these people are exceptionally good at targeting people who are high on the neuroticism quality. You can divide predators and prey into two basic groups. You have character disturbed and neurotics. Now, everyone is neurotic to a certain degree because that's how you're socialized. But highly neurotic people have a hyper-developed sense of self and guilt and shame. They become the ones most easily manipulated by the character disturbed, by the narcissists, the sociopaths, the dark triads, the Machiavellians. And so a lot of these people are on antidepressants, they're on Prozac, they're on all these other medications to balance their moods. Okay. So you need to understand, this is one of the reasons why state control is such a superpower in our world. If you don't have these skills, these people will push your buttons, right? And you'll lose your ability to make good decisions, to evaluate people. But the other thing I'm circling back is people won't use these skills, not because they don't know them, not because they don't work, but because people are afraid they will work and they'll find out something that they don't want to know. The most powerful lies are the ones we tell ourselves. And in Dr. Patrick's book, Red Flags, she talks about how people bullshit themselves into classifying negative behavioral traits as something positive. Someone who's controlling, they'll reframe as being protective. Someone who is domineering, they'll frame as being very sophisticated and knows what they want. Because you get these blinders on that the emotion creates, and you see negative behaviors in a positive light. That's especially true in the beginning stages of a relationship when your body is at the mercy of all of these different chemicals. Okay. Is this useful? Is this helping you guys at all? Okay. So let's go back to our list. But before I do, let me just remind you that the clock is running on our offer. So let me just do this really quick. If you haven't clicked that link yet, when would now be a good time to do that? Remember, we're offering you the Secrets of Human Influence home study course. It's a $2,497 value. You're also going to get, again, the Defense Against the Dark Arts training. It's a $1,997 value. We're going to give that to you free because we want you to be ready. We're going to give you the Renegade Reframing Conversational Belief Change and Overcome Injection home study course. It's a $1,997 value. We're going to give that to you free. You're going to get the Charisma and Conversion Hypnotic Persuasion Skills for Presenters and Public Speakers home study course, $1,997 value. We're going to give that to you absolutely free. We're going to give you the 3-month trial membership to the NLP Power Mastermind Mentoring Practice Group, along with the video archive, 13 years of stuff, $1,597 value. We're going to give that to you free. You're going to get Stealth Instant Conversational Hypnosis Crash Course. Download it tonight. Hypnotize people tomorrow. $997 free. We're going to give you that free VIP ticket to our next live Killer Influence 5-day covert hypnosis certification boot camp. It's a $3,150 value. We're going to give this to you free. Total package value was $13,325. You can get it all for one low installment of just $997. Or if you need to, we can break that into 3 easy installments of $397 each. All you got to do is click this link, click this link, click this link, www.killerinfluence.com/go. It's www.killerinfluence.com/go. Let's jump back into our victimology. Okay, let me make this a little bit smaller so it's easier to see. Okay, so these people, if you have a history of seeking help from suicide hotlines, history of very few close friends, if you're a loner, for example, or someone who's very, very high on the introversion scale, these are people that are going to get targeted. It's especially true for people trying to recruit into cults and things of that nature. They're going to look for the outsiders. If you have a desire for notoriety, in other words, you all know these people who just do crazy shit because it gets them attention. This is something that can radically, you'll see this a lot in people who are targeted by cults. You see this one a lot. People have a strong desire for self-expression, but feel stymied in their current life or in the culture that they grew up in. These people are prime candidates for this kind of exploitation. History of abuse, sexual or physical. This is a big one. This is actually something that we can see in face reading. There are certain traits around the mouth that can flag someone who has very, very flimsy boundaries, as well as people who are more prone to violate boundaries. Now, that doesn't necessarily make them a bad person, doesn't necessarily make them a sex abuser or a child molester or anything like that, but it is someone who may perceive boundaries a little bit more fluidly than we would like. Okay, heightened disconnection from friends and family at work or school. So if you checked any of these boxes, right, these are things that you need to fix. Okay, you need to find positive social groups that will support you. Now, here's where it gets even more challenging. The people who are these proactive predators, what they're going to do is they are going to put themselves in your path. So I'll give you an example from Dr. Patrick's book. One of the things that you'll very often see happen in cases of human trafficking is the trafficker themselves will come off as someone who is very cool, very classy, has lots of money, and they'll target young girls in high school, right? But they won't make the approach directly. What they'll actually do is they'll have a female accomplice who's about the same age, who dresses very very similar to the person being targeted. And they will survey and watch these people for days, following their movement patterns, following their behaviors. And then at some point when they feel they've got enough information and a profile about this person, that girl, like say the girl's walking home from school and she goes into a convenience store, right? She'll walk into the target walks into the convenience store. This girl walks in shortly after her, watches what she buys, goes up to her and buys the same thing. And as they're standing side by side in the checkout, she'll say something, she'll break the ice like, oh, great minds think alike, right? Now, here's the thing you need to understand. Remember I said that there's 5 phases to this, right? You have proactivity, credibility, affirmation, identification, and what's the one am I missing? Pop quiz, credibility, proactivity, affirmation, credibility, identification, emotional appeal. Thank you. So this girl walks in and she may have a few things on that are very similar to what the girl's wearing, but she'll go in and she will buy exactly what the girl's buying and be checking out next to her, and she will get in a conversation. Now, this is important. Anytime you see somebody that has something like you the barriers between self and others start to diminish. They start to drop. Okay. Alexander Penland, in his study on honest signals, has demonstrated over and over and over again that if all you did was mimic a person's body language while you're doing an interview, your chances of getting a pay increase or getting hired go up by as much as 33%. Right? And this was done through surveys and tests done with the sound off. This is all nonverbal. If let's say you're leaving the mall and you're taking public transportation, you get on the bus and you just bought this really cool watch or this beautiful pair of shoes that you're wearing. You get on the bus and you see further down the hallway or the aisle, someone who has the exact same handbag or shoes or watch that you just bought. The chances of you going over to them or sitting close to them and even starting a conversation go up astronomically. The echo technique. What is the echo technique, guys? The echo technique is taking what comes out of a person's mouth and mind and giving it back to them, which does what? Validation, sameness, credibility, affirmation. But we do it in an ethical way. You see the pattern? No matter how liberal or how independent-minded you think you are, you're all biased. Every single human on the planet is biased. They're moving through the world looking for themselves, and the more boxes a person can check off that says you're just like them, the more comfortable they feel around you. The barriers to intimacy drop. They open up and become hyper-suggestible, and you cleave. You hold on. You don't want to let go. Okay? Predators take this to an extreme degree because everything about them is contrived. We're going through the world being authentic versions of ourselves. These people have a much different agenda. Okay? But you need to understand that one of the things that they're going to do is they're going to try and accelerate and compress that bonding process. They're going to try to move you through the stages of friendship faster. Okay? They're going to befriend, they're going to affirm, they're going to identify, and you're going to think you found your new soulmate. When in reality, they're sizing you up. They've been sizing you up for weeks and months many times. Now, the suck part is that if you go to people for help, like, support groups, guess where these people tend to hang out sometimes? How many people here have seen Fight Club? Anybody? Okay. What was this guy's modus operandi? What did he do? First rule of Fight Club, yeah, right? He hung out at support groups, right? You'd be surprised how many sex addicts hang out at support groups to get laid. Pickup artists do this. He took Bob, yeah, right? My point is is that most of us wouldn't even be on our radar to do shit like that, right? But the line for these predators is very, very different. Okay. I highly recommend you get Dr. Patrick's book, Red Flags. It's a very easy read. We go much deeper than the book can, because we're going to train you to be someone who can actually turn the tables on these people. But the fastest way to turn the tables on these people is get off the menu. You guys know how long it takes for you to become friends with somebody on average. Beware of anybody who tries to compress that process. That should be, hey, if they're checking all your boxes, maybe they're legit, maybe they're not. The very fact that you feel so good about them so quickly should tell you, first and foremost, slow your roll, step back, control your emotions, and do your due diligence. Check them out. Now, I know very, very well that most of you won't do it. You won't do it. You know why? Because you don't want to know. You want to roll the dice. But if you want to protect yourself, you have to understand that not everybody is like you. In fact, the ones you got to worry about are the ones who aren't, right? Unless you're a predator, which you guys are the good Jedi, so I train you, right? So this 5-phase proactivity formula, be wary of people who check those boxes. Now, these people could also be very, very powerful, very, very positive mentors in your life, but they still have an unprecedented level of influence over you, right? But one of the things I want you to be very, very clear on, and this is why you got to have rock solid state control. When I teach like attraction skills, now, you know, a lot of you know this, a lot of you don't. In 2005, I was named one of the top attraction experts in the world by the Art of Approaching and SeductionLayer.com websites and blogs, right? Because I knew very, very powerfully how to create deep love and connection and sexual fulfillment in my partners. And I was teaching couples how to do this, right? One of the things you got to understand is people don't want to know the truth if it threatens their happiness, right? It's one of those, you know, I've studied on both sides of this continuum. And so I'm trying to prepare you. I want you to be powerful. I want you to be able to use influence in a way that's in harmony with who you want to be. But at the same time, I don't want you to be the next fucking Darth Vader either. Right? And that's one of the reasons why we always recommend you take identity by design with killer influence. So you fix all those little idiosyncrasies that may cause you to go dark side. But if someone comes at you with negative intent, you need to be able to fight. You know, one of my mentor, John LaTourette, used to say, and I consider him one of my mentors, even though I've only met him a couple of times in person before he passed. He would say, if you move through the world looking like a bologna sandwich, don't be surprised if someone tries to take a bite out of you. Now, sometimes the thing doing the biting looks like a shark. Sometimes it looks like a sheep. Liam says, I have Defense Against the Dark Arts and How to Catch a Liar helped me get rid of the people in my life that were leeches and dark triads scary, but also amazingly informative and life-changing, well worth it. Thank you, Liam. Thank you for that, right? That's all I want. I want you to, you're no good to the world broke, hurt, disempowered, taken advantage of. And you know what? You know what I discovered after 17,000 hours of therapy? People who are hurting tend to hurt other people. So let's get off the menu. So has this been helpful so far? Is this useful? So much to learn. Yeah. But one of the things, before you drill down into technique, you got to understand the mindset, right? When I teach attraction, we have this process called 3 magic questions. And I flirted with it a little bit at the beginning of the webinar. What I said about this process was it's a 3-step conversational framework that will take you from complete stranger to deep connection bordering on love in as little as 20 minutes. Now, that 20-minute window is based on a couple of things. A, it's based on your ability to echo their words effectively and to pay attention to their cues, to pay attention to their nonverbals. But it's also based on your ability and willingness to test every single thing that comes out of their mouth. Okay. And one of the things that people who learn the three magic questions protocol often run into is that attraction and connection is a two-way street. So when you're doing three magic questions, as you step through location, occasion, career passions and pleasures, to early positive childhood experiences, you are going to generate so much power, so much connection, so much attraction. But at the same time, the person you're doing this with is going to continually tell you more and more and more about themselves. And the longer they talk, the better you look. Now that's great, but here's the problem. The attraction that they're feeling, you're going to feel it too. And so what can happen is if you don't have rock solid state control, if you don't know how to manage those fluctuating levels of connection and attraction, you will start missing flags. You will start giving people the benefit of the doubt who have no business getting the benefit of the doubts. You will move the hell no people into the maybe category, and you'll be living with that for weeks, months, years, because you became a victim of the very attraction you were seeking to generate. So one of the things you need to understand about three magic questions protocol is ABT. Always be testing. You always have to be testing the validity and the identity of the person in front of you until you've reached a level of confidence in that person and in that relationship that you believe testing isn't as necessary. But because of the feelings that your neurology is going to generate, you will also have a tendency, you'll avoid this as a suggestion, you may also have a tendency to let things go you shouldn't be letting go. So one of the cool things that helps you with three magic questions is the deeper both of you get into the process, the harder it becomes for the person to lie. So here's the thing. They will start to tell you some of the most heinous things about themselves with a smile on their face. And if you're not in that always be testing mode, that deception decipherment mode, you will give people passes that you shouldn't be. Okay? So again, the state control aspect of this is where we have to start, because if you can't control your state, your senses will lie to you. Your senses will lie to you. Okay? So proactivity, emotional appeal, credibility, affirmation, identification. Okay? These are the 5 phases that these types of, and I'm talking predators from just your classic narcissists all the way up to the most heinous offenders of human rights out there. Right? William says, truer words have never been said. ABT, always be testing. 3MQ points out everything if you just pay attention. Yes. Yes. And that's why it's one of the very first things that you learn in the killer influence programs. And even in some, every now and then I whip it out in the CPI programs, but killer influence and defense against the dark arts especially. Now, I originally developed my version of three magic questions as an attraction device. We discovered the more as other types of customers got a hold of this technology, that it would create profound connections in any context. And so much so, I've literally seen like a bunch of my clients are personal injury attorneys, and they started using this thing with witnesses for deposition and in jury selection. So I literally saw a video where the expert witness for the defense was volunteering to waive their attorney-client privilege to answer my students' questions, even though it would have damaged the defense's case. I didn't believe it when I first heard it. And then he showed me the video and I was like, holy shit, Batman, this is powerful shit, right? So 3MQ needs to be one of your echo technique, three magic questions, emotional bonding checklist. That's the 3 things I talked about and focused on in the first part of the webinar. These are the things, and state control. These are the things that form the foundation of your ability to deploy counter manipulation techniques. Killer Influence is, three magic questions is in the original home study course, the Killer Influence program, Secrets of Human Influence. It's also in Defense Against the Dark Arts. I may have touched on it in Renegade reframing, but it's absolutely in Killer Influence and Defense Against the Dark Arts. So you'll get it twice. It really is important. But it's an extension of the echo technique, right? And again, it'll create very profound connections in people that they will not want to jeopardize, but you have to have strong state control to do it. Okay. What other questions do you have? This is your time. Tell me what you got. Anybody? Bueller? 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 All right. Well, then let's do this. Let's review our little offer sheet one more time, and then I'm going to teach you the resistance removal protocol. So the Secrets of Human Influence home study course, right, has the 3 magic questions protocol in it. The resistance removal protocol, we're going to go through much more in depth. It has deeper levels of the emotional bonding checklist, the most powerful conversational hypnotic language patterns that exist, and a whole lot more. It's a $2,497 program. You're also going to get absolutely free the Defense Against the Dark Arts, $1,997 value, absolutely free. You're going to get the Renegade reframing, $1,997 value, absolutely free. You're going to get charisma and conversion, $1,997 value, absolutely free. You get a 3-month trial membership plus the 13-year video archive, $1,597 value. We're going to give that to you free. You're going to get the Stealth Instant Conversation Hypnosis Crash Course at $997 value. We're going to give you that free. And of course, if you're one of the first 21 people to register for this program before I log off tonight's webinar, you're going to get a copy of the free VIP ticket to the Killer Influence Covert Hypnosis Training live here in San Diego, January 23rd to the 27th. Total package value is $13,325. You can get it all for one low installment of just $997. Guys, do the math. It's never been easier. It's never been simpler. And you get me, right? Click that link right now. If you need to, you can break that up into 3 easy installments at just $397. Let Holly or Brandon or Moss know that you want to talk, and we'll make sure that you get taken care of in the most powerful way possible. Just click the link right now before we go any further. Just click it, and we'll go from there. And I see 5 or 6 questions in the chat, so let me go ahead and see what's in here. Tammy's asking, do you guys have a way to pay through PayPal credit? I think check in with Moss and he'll let you know. Emails have to be activated manually, so give us some time to set it up, is what Holly is saying. Let's see what else is here. Chat. All right, I don't see. Oh wait, I see. There's just one question here. Let me see what it is. Oh, that's Moss. All right. So let's talk about resistance removal. What if there was a way? Actually, let's do this. You guys want to play with conversational belief change? You guys want to learn something about that? Okay. So here's what I want you to do. The pattern I'm going to teach you is we're going to work with 2 of them really quickly. Right. These are 2 of my favorite. And again, there's a full training on Renegade reframing. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to go ahead and type into the chat either a limiting belief that you have or an objection that you often encounter. Okay, so Manfred says, I have a hard time coding for extended periods of time. Well, Manfred, maybe it's not that you're having a hard time coding for extended periods of time, but maybe it's the way you're going about coding that's causing you to not last for that extended period of time. Would that be possible? Boom, see, I guess. See what happens? Like, well, yeah, I guess. Right, so if thinking about it like that, so if it were possible for you to find a different way to code that would allow you to extend the code for extended periods of time, that'd be something worth exploring, would it not? So Kathy, it's not that you don't have enough money, it's just that you really haven't seen why this is so important for you to take that action and justify the expense, right? And thinking about it like that, what might you have to consider for it to be worthwhile for you, right? Liam, I have a hard time wanting to make more money because I've always been taught money is the root of all evil. So it's not that money is the root of all evil. It's just the teachings that you've had have led you to act in a way that you treat money as the root of all evil. But it's not the money that's evil, and it's not money that is the root of all evil. It's the teachings you had itself that are the root of all evil. And thinking about it like that, which is more important to you? Embracing the belief that keeps you stuck, or trying a new one, where money is actually something that allows you to beat and destroy evil? Would that be possible? How might you change the feeling connected to money? It's really simple. Point to where you feel it. Frame it. Well, it's not that, again, where does the money come from? That's real. I don't know your situation. I don't know your finances. I don't know what your priorities are, right? But you do, right? And it's really about, it's not really about where's the money going to come from, is what possibilities haven't I tried yet for that, right? Because if it's not valuable enough to you, then don't spend the money. But if you know there's value here, there's always, what I've discovered in my years of working with this stuff, it's almost never a lack of money. It's a lack of creativity and a willingness to go get it, right? And it's always because there's some other question we haven't answered in ourselves yet that allows us to give ourselves permission to go for it, okay? Anybody else have Ali saying, hold on a second, you guys are starting to pepper me here. So Liam says, I knew that would be your answer. In fact, I did just that and got a raise at work. I am so happy you are genuine and consistent with your advice. Thank you, Liam. Thank you. Ali Hassan is asking, how can we use more parts of our DNA? I mean, 78% or 80% of DNA mankind don't use. Well, okay, that's really not the purview of tonight's webinar, but I will tell you that advanced energetic practices, advanced hypnotic programming can allow you to tap into that other 80% of your DNA. That's as far as I'm going to go. Jack says, I believe that my mother's influence is affecting me in my old age. Okay. Well, thinking about it like that, what's more important, holding on to the limiting beliefs from your mother or just adopting new beliefs because you know where they're coming from? We got 4 more messages here. Hold on. Okay, then how do you find okay, that's not a limiting belief, right? Remember, the drill here is to give a limiting belief or an objection. By the way, for those of you who are asking these questions, and I'm deploying this on you, what's happening when I respond? What happens inside your mind? Adopting new beliefs. Absolutely. Absolutely adopting new beliefs, Jax. And thinking about it like that, how quickly can you start to embrace these technologies to eliminate the old beliefs and install new ones? You can see a new path, right? Right. And it's not that you're actually seeing a new path. It's actually just that you're acknowledging a path that was already always there, but you were too busy focusing on looking at the past. Shit keeps happening. Well, yeah, you know what? That's not just that shit keeps happening to you, because shit happens to everybody. It's the fact of the way you're looking and processing the shit that keeps happening to you. That's determining the meaning you're assigning to it and the behaviors that arise from it. So thinking about it like that, how important would it be to actually choose to look at the shit that happens from a different perspective so that you could have a better response or a better set of choices? Okay, so how can I, okay, that's again, not a limiting belief so much as a process we need to run. Let's see. Liam says, so powerful yet so easy. The reframe of beliefs is crazy. Thinking about your reframe made me want to do the thing and change what I'm doing. Yes. And that's the power of these patterns. What it does is it doesn't make your belief wrong. It changes the perspective from which you're viewing the world. And the moment you change the direction or angle you're viewing things from, the more you see opportunities that were hidden from the other angle. It's like you're viewing it from here and all of a sudden you're seeing it from here. And the view is very different, right? It's kind of like, how many people here saw Dead Poets Society with Robin Williams? Anybody? You guys remember when he had everybody stand up on the table and the world changed? Why did it change? It's the same room, same desk, same chairs, same people, different perspective. That's what these patterns do. They force a perspective shift, many times in a gentle way. But you can also bludgeon people with this. There's actually ways to do this combatively where you just fry their brain and install any kind of suggestion you want. Now, I don't advocate that, but you can do that. Aurora says, that makes sense. Offer link, change the angle of your, yeah. Okay, if you haven't seen Dead Poet Society, go see it for that scene. Oh, Captain, my Captain. Yes, there you go. All right, so all I used in all of these situations, I only used two of the reframing patterns. I used what we call, a redefine. It's not X, it's Y. And I used what we call hierarchy of criteria, which is the pattern most similar to the emotional bonding checklist and the emotional motivation checklist. And that one is supremely powerful, right? And again, the best part about this is you could literally do a brain dump of all your limiting beliefs. And as you read the belief, apply these two patterns to those beliefs, and your beliefs would change in such a way that you couldn't go back. That's how powerful. I've done this. Second pattern was called hierarchy of criteria. And the way you start that, remember the emotional bonding checklist question was, what's important about? The reframe pattern is which is more important, X or Y, right? Which is more important, holding on to your limiting beliefs about money and the lack of creativity that goes with it, or embracing a new paradigm so you can be and do and have something different? Which is more important? Okay. Again, that's just two, and I'm just playing. So Liam says, so you could combine this with bucket listing informations for more change. Yes. Somebody's thinking. That's good. All right. That's about, makes sense, right? Think about what you can do with this. There is no objection that somebody can confront you with that you can't beat. Okay? There's no limiting belief that a person or you can give yourself that you can't beat. And how fast was it? How fast was it? Instant, right? Okay. Now, here's the thing you need to understand. Narcissists and predators, extremely good at doing this to you, but they'll do it in a way that damages your self-esteem. They'll do it in a way that makes you feel bad about yourself. And in that process of making you feel bad about yourself, you become more malleable, you become more manipulatable. The only way to beat it is to know how to do it. Okay. All right. That being said, oh yes, they will tear up everything you thought about yourself and keep going. That's actually one of their primary modus operandi. One of the things you need to understand about the emotional bonding checklist is that a human being can't go against that checklist. A human being cannot go against their deeply held emotional values without experiencing tremendous pain. What a social predator will do, everything from the wife of the domestic abuser to the child molester to the con artist, what they will do is systematically break down your sense of identity until your values are based on the approval of what the other person wants. They will peck away and destroy your rules and values until your sense of self is so degraded that the only validation you get is letting them do whatever they want to you. You live for their validation. Okay. Again, I put a lot of thought into this. I've watched and I've studied and I've worked with some of the best minds in the world on how this shit works. Some of my friends are some of the most cutting edge researchers and people in the behavioral influence world, right? And unfortunately, there's not many people out there teaching how to beat this shit. So if you're ready, click the link and let's get started, right? Remember, you're going to get the Secrets of Human Influence home study course, $2,497 value. You're going to get the Defense Against the Dark Arts home study course, which reviews what's in the first course and then takes it even further. You're going to get the Renegade reframing, instant conversational belief change, and objection mastery. You're going to get the charisma and conversion, mass influence skills for hypnotic presenters and public speakers. You're also going to get the Stealth Instant Conversational Hypnosis Crash Course. You're going to get the 3-month trial membership where you can actually get with people just like you right now and just drill in person. How much NLP is in that course? Tons, and it's all done the right way, in a way that anybody can do it, right? You're also going to get the VIP super ticket and the Stealth and the Mastermind Mentoring Program. Just click the link, guys, right? This is the last shot. I'm going to log off in less than 2 minutes. But I hope sincerely that you got something out of tonight, that you got to feel the power of some of these techniques. You got some things that you can go out into the world and play with, right? Use that echo technique, use that emotional bonding checklist, play with the reframe patterns, right, that you saw, and just enjoy your life and hear more yeses and do the things you want. Isaac says, I just signed up, already signed up. Thank you, Isaac. Welcome aboard. Click the link, click the link, click the link. There's Namisha, one of my favorite locals, right? Anyway, in the words of the immortal Carol Burnett, I'm so glad we had this time together just to have a laugh or sing a song. Seems we just got started, and before you know it, comes the time we have to say, click the link. So long. Good night, guys. I'll see you on the other side. Good night. God bless. Have a great night.